On this episode of the Just in Time podcast with Justin Kutcher.
He threw the touchdown, comes running off, and he beelines to me. He's like, he can't hardly breathe, overwhelmed with the situation. And he was like, what the F just happened? His turnover was ridiculous. His athleticism was unreal. His feel for the game was unreal. When you compare us, his speed's a little bit different. Mike had a ridiculously strong arm. I beat the Patriots in Tom Brady on a comeback play, a 2-minute drive, even though Brady didn't play. But in my mind, he was on the team, so I beat you, Brady, on that particular place. They wanted somebody to be similar to who Mike was. But they was like, we got another guy who's really athletic, who can run, who can move. If something happens, he is going to be the guy.
The greatest sports moments happen in seconds, but the stories behind them are timeless. Dive into the mind of the icons who live those moments. No filters, just authentic conversations about the moments that define careers. I'm Justin Kutcher, and this is the Just in Time podcast. Welcome to another edition of the Just in Time podcast with Justin Kutcher. I'm joined now by a guy who was the quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs, an absolute legend in the state of Georgia. He was also a quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, and maybe his greatest accomplishment is that he has been my analyst with the Atlanta Falcons on the preseason TV coverage since back in 2017. He might be a good athlete, but he's a better person. DJ Shockley. Shock, man, great to have you. Thanks for joining me.
Kutch, I need to take you on the road with me because that intro was fantastic. And easily the best thing I've done in my career is get in the booth with you. So absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me, man. And glad we could finally make it work.
Yeah, you know what? I appreciate that too. And I love the fact that you're wearing red because I don't know if I've ever seen you in any color other than red or black. What's the deal with that?
It's strange, man. I don't know. Sometimes I just go in the closet and I just pull things out and they just happen to be red and black. I don't know what it is. My wife's trying to get me out of it and wear different colors, but just, sometimes you just look good in certain things, bro.
Okay, so you grew up in Atlanta and you went to Georgia. Was there ever a thought of not being a Bulldog?
Oh, no doubt. I actually was going to go to Florida State because at the time, I was being recruited by Mark Richt, who was at Florida State at the time. And he had coached Chris Winkie. He had coached Charlie Ward, all guys who won the Heisman, but they were two different styles of quarterbacks. And I was like, if this guy can coach these two guys, I mean, that's who I want to be coached by. So I went to Florida State. I would probably say I was 60-40, probably Florida State over Georgia at the time because Coach Rick was there. And crazy funny story. I'm at Florida State at like their little team gala, and you go there, you have dinner, black tie, whatever. And we sit at the table, and Coach Rick's like, you know what? Florida State is the best place for you. Florida State is, I've coached this guy, that guy. I'd be great for you. This is the best place to be. I want you to be a Nole. And I was like, sounds good, Coach. I might come. And then a week later, he takes the job at Georgia. And the same day he takes the job at Georgia, he's sitting in my living room, and he's sitting on the couch, and he says, Shock, you know what? I think Georgia's the best place for you. And I think this will be the best place for you to excel and grow as a player. I was like, Coach, you just said Florida State was the best place for me. But he said, you know what I mean? I'm the best coach for you. So we always laugh about that story. A lot of times when we talk. But he was definitely a major reason why I chose, Georgia over Florida State. Definitely been a hometown kid. It helped to, play in your hometown state. But I wanted to play for that guy, and I was that close to probably being a Seminole.
So I love the fact that you called him out on it. Like, dude, just last week, you're like, Florida State was the great school for me.
Yeah, chopping and everything, man. Come on, I'm like, come on, bro.
Did you practice the chop?
Nah, it was cool. I ain't gonna lie, because that was during, their heyday. I was coming out in 2000, 2001. They just had that 99 team that was stupid good, just went to the national, played in the national championship, won it, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm thinking that, Peter Warrick and all these guys who just came through there, and I was like, Florida State is on fire right now. So I thought that was a place I was going to go.
So what was the reaction by the locals in Atlanta, by your high school, when you make the announcement that you're going to be a Bulldog?
Well, you know what? It's a lot different, Kush, than it is now.
I know.
Right now, when kids say they're going to go to a school, it's like a like a movie presentation or something. Like they got a trailer going and they got, plot twists and all this kind of stuff and throwing hats. For me, it was just like, yeah, I've been thinking about it. I appreciate everybody talking to me. Now I'm going to Georgia Bulldog. Yeah, everybody went crazy. Obviously, Georgia was still high on the list. Georgia was a team that everybody still watched. Had great relationships at the University of Georgia, and I think it was received with great news because obviously I was Coach Richt's first official recruit to Georgia, so it was a big deal. Georgia had some new hype behind them. They got a brand new coach coming over from Florida State who won all these championships and won all these big things to have him there. So I think everybody was kind of excited to see what Coach Richt would do at Georgia. But Georgia still had that lore, still had that brand, and made everybody kind of excited about it.
What was it about Coach Richt that you wanted to either play for him at Florida State or play for him at Georgia?
I think the biggest thing is his faith, for one, and the trust he had in I say the trust I had in him because of his faith, and I knew he wouldn't lie to me. And obviously, in this day and age, even back then, coaches say whatever, try to get a player, and they'll tell you, "Oh, you're gonna start your X amount of games," and he never did that. He just, kind of spoke the truth to me, told me how much he loved the Lord. I always lived by it. You could tell he was a guy that was a guy who his faith was huge to him, and he valued it, and he wasn't afraid to hide it. And I knew playing for a God-fearing man like that, I knew what I would get out of him more than anything. Obviously, he was already a great coach, but then also he was a great man. And I think that was a big part of it as well is, I'm going to spend the next 4 or 5 years away from my life, actually growing into a man. Why not learn from a guy like Coach Richt who, embodies what that means?
And you just said before that you guys still talk. So what are those talks like now that here you are, a man, a father of 2? What are those talks like with him?
The biggest thing is it's about kids. It's about his grandkids. It's about chasing his kids around. His son now is a head high school football coach, so now he gets to sit back and watch him do it. But mainly, it's seeing how my kids are, and he loves to be a granddad. That's all he talks about is his granddaughter's painting his nails, or they're planning his hair, or he's like, Pop's got to go do this. So he is fully engulfed in being a granddad and absolutely loves it. It's cool to see him in that light and kind of just relaxing. He still lives in Athens, which is pretty cool. Still close to the program. See him around at Georgia from time to time. Obviously, Kirby always welcomes him back whenever he wants to come back. So it's cool to still know that he's in the area and he's doing well.
You mentioned Kirby Smart. You do a lot of work with the Georgia Bulldogs. You're still doing radio stuff for the Bulldogs. What's the feeling like for you, having been there as a player and now being there commentating on the team?
Bro, it's a different vibe. I ain't gonna lie. With Kirby there, Kirby is like, he is the ultimate competitor, wants to win at everything. And the one thing I've learned about being around this team, or just being around Coach Smart, period, and his program is every minute is accounted for within his program. Like, I go around and look at like the things they got to do for a day. And I mean, from the time they wake up to the time they leave the facility to go, home, every minute is detailed. And I think that's why his program is so good, because of the way he coaches, for one, but the attention to detail that he pays to, not even just on the field, but off it as well. Their meeting times, their walkthroughs, and the vibe is different. It almost feels like nobody in the entire program wants to let him down. And you can tell by the way people practice. You can tell by the way they go about their business. You look at recruiting, even as coaches, they don't want to let him down. But I think that's what makes him great is he holds every single person accountable in that building every day, every week. And it shows on the field. It shows when they play. You can see how hard the guys play for him. You can see how hard the coaches coach for him. And one thing I know about Kirby is he's not going to ask you to do anything he hasn't ever done. And you talk about putting in the hours or putting in the work or, being on the field, this dude does it with the best of them. And I think he's learned over the years to kind of delegate a little bit. He was a guy that wanted his hand in every single thing, and he still does, but he's a little bit, less of that now because he's been around. He's going into his 10th year, bro. 10th year I can't believe Kirby has been at Georgia, and this will be his 10th season. Got him 2 natties. Should have probably 3 or 4 by now. But back-to-back natties was pretty cool.
When you were at Georgia and you decided to go play for Mark Richt, did you think or did you see it in the future that Georgia could be what Kirby Smart has built it up to be?
I think so, because you look at, there's always the argument who has the best athletes. Is it Florida? Is it Texas? Is
Georgia's
it Georgia?
loaded.
Yeah, everybody talks about it for a long time, and I think that you look at how much talent is in the state, and you say, I know you can't get everybody, but Georgia has always been right there on the edge, and for whatever reason it was, can they just get over that edge? Even when I was there, we were winning the SEC championship was big because we hadn't done that in a long time. So our whole focus was like, we got to win an SEC championship. But now the focus is, no, we don't want to just win an SEC championship. Yeah, we do want to win them, but it's all about winning natties. And I guess I thought it would eventually happen, but when Kirby came in, he took that thing up by 3 more notches, and we see what happened now. But you knew there was so much talent. They recruited really well. Georgia's a great brand. When you see the G, you know exactly what it's about. They're always in contention for every single year. So you knew there was only a matter of time before they did it, and I think Kirby came in and was the right guy to kind of take that thing to the next level. And now all thoughts go to it's natty or bust whenever they play.
Take me back to high school. You mentioned Georgia, a state with great athletes. Dude, you were one of the best athletes to come out of Georgia. And I know you were a dual threat quarterback and this and that, but you weren't just a quarterback. You played other sports growing up.
Yeah.
Was football always your best?
Oh, no, you love this because I know you do a lot of baseball. Baseball was my number one sport. I thought I was going to play baseball, to be honest. I got drafted later rounds in baseball, but I loved baseball growing up. Football was kind of secondary. And I love playing baseball because it was just one of those type of sports that you really had to lock in on. Football was like, all right, you have one big play, you have a fast play, boom, 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 and you go to the next play. Every play was like that. And I think in baseball, you had to lock in so much. It's kind of lulls in the game, as we know, and you had to really lock in. I played pitcher, played shortstop, so whenever I pitched, that energy was always up. Was pretty good, could throw it pretty hard. Was quick on the base pad. Wasn't a home run hitter, catch, nothing like that. I was a old base hit kind of guy. Let me get on. But I love baseball, man. I played basketball just to keep in shape. I had a few dunks. I give you probably about 10 or 12 a game, something like that. But baseball was my sport. My dad made me run track just to get me faster. So he would put me in the fastest 100-meter races, and I'd get blown out. But it made me faster because I'm trying to keep up with those guys. I did a little bit of everything, but I really thought baseball was going to be the ticket until when I was in high school. I was one of the best pitchers, and I had to pitch so much. And as I pitched so much, bro, my arm was like every inning, I'm just flexing it up every inning, just bathing in it. And I'm like, man, I don't want to. If it's gonna feel like this, I don't want to play in college. So I was like, I guess I'm just gonna focus on football. And I actually had a major league tryout, but I also had a camp to go to Florida State. And my dad was like, which one you want to do? So I ended up going to Florida State. The rest is history when you think about just staying with football. Yeah.
So if they had the rules they have now, where pitch limits and whatnot for pitchers in high school, in Little League and all that stuff, do you honestly think you would have gone baseball over football?
It's a good question, man. It's a high probability because I loved baseball, and I still love it to this day. But it's hard to, go back on it because I know what happens in football. I also wish I knew how much they made in baseball. If I knew that.
Guaranteed.
What? Come on, give me all that. I don't care what you do. Man, Bobby Bonilla's still getting paid right now. So I'm like, bro, give me some of that baseball money, and it'd been good. But yeah, I was, naive to it and said, I love football. Let's go do football. But I don't know. If there was a chance of knowing some of this stuff, my outcome in life could have been totally different. But I ain't mad because I see with the baseball, but I ain't mad. If I chose another route, I might not be right here on just in time. You know what I'm saying? So
hey,
it all works out.
It's all facts.
Yeah.
I want to know though, who are some of the studs that you played against, whether it was in Little League or high school? Which guys made it?
Oh man, well, a lot of the guys were like a bunch of guys I played quarterback against. Like I remember playing against like Derek Anderson, playing against Brody Kroll, who's like he was the number one quarterback in the country when I was coming out. It went up going to Alabama. Kyle Orton, who made it to the league for a long time. I mean, it's Batman Carroll, played for a long time. It's a bunch of dudes who you played against. You're like, man, all these dudes were really successful as they went on to college and pro. I remember Calvin Johnson coming out playing against him, like just monster of a guy, just like and
When did you
trying to get
play
him to come
against
to
him?
Georgia, everything. Yeah.
When you played against, how old were you when you played against him?
So I was maybe a senior in high school, and he was maybe a sophomore, and we played against him. He went to Sandy Creek High School, and he was the same size in the NFL he was in high school. So it was ridiculous. He was, doing the same stuff in high school, killing everybody, just going on top and just head topping everybody. But guys like that, you look back and say, had no idea this dude was gonna be who he was.
I love doing that. I love looking back and seeing like high school teams or all-star teams, who they were and what they turned out to be. It can blow your mind sometimes, and you wonder, how did those teams ever lose?
Yeah. And you say, ain't no way, because like these dudes got everybody on them right now. I mean, you look back now, and I think like some of the guys who just came out, like Cooper Flagg and all those dudes, like 3 or 4 different dudes on that team.
Montford.
Yeah. I mean, played on that. I mean, I think guy from Georgia played there, who Asanua played. Him and Cooper Flagg were on like the same basketball team. I'm like, how them dudes lose? They could never lose. Look at it. And they were like 6'6" all at that time too. Like basketball is a whole different sport. Them dudes are just long for no reason. But yeah, there were some teams out there you like, we're just gonna try to show up and try to keep it close.
First time you dunked, how old were you?
First time I dunked, it probably had to be the end of like my 10th grade year. Because obviously, high school, that's a big deal. It went from, I could touch the backboard, I could touch the bottom of the, touching the rubber part at the bottom, I'm getting hops. Then it was like, can you touch the rim? Can you touch the rim? And then touching the rim was a big deal. And then it was like, oh, now I got to put the ball in my hand. You got to raise up a little bit higher. So I remember going towards the end of my 10th grade year, about to go to my junior year, playing in a game. And I don't know what happened. I just took off and it happened. And I shocked myself. And after that, it was, that's all I wanted to do was catch alley-oops, was dunk. Because you look over and the crowd is going bananas in high school when you dunk. Back then, dunking was, like the new three-pointer is now. Yes. Like, shooting it from long range. So back then, if you could dunk, you had a little swag. People was all about you. So that's what I wanted to do. And I figured it out probably by my end of my 10th grade year.
All right, better reaction from the crowd, throwing or running for a touchdown or throwing down a dunk?
It depends on what game. I had one in high school that was pretty good. It was off the tip. We were playing our rival. The game started at 7:30. They shut the doors at 3:30 because it was so packed. That's how crazy the game was. And I remember right off the tip, we would have this tip play where like our, guy would tip it to one of us that's on the wings, and whoever caught it, the other guy has already took it off. And as he catches it, he's throwing it for the hoop. And this particular game, he tapped it to the other guy. I take off, throws it up, two-hand, it went bananas in there. Like they literally almost had to stop play because people are running. Oh my God. And, it's just crazy in a game like that. But you could say throwing I threw like a 55-yard bomb for a touchdown in the SEC championship game over LSU when they were like number 3 and they win this game, they go play in the Natty, and hearing, 75 to 80,000 people going crazy. That's pretty cool too. So I've had a few of those. I remember my first preseason game, we're playing, that means like the second preseason game my rookie year, we're playing against the Patriots. And of course, it's the preseason. Brady ain't playing. But guess what? In my head, I'm trying to beat Brady. So I drive down in the ball game. I throw it to my guy, Kevin Youngblood. We come back and win. So in my brain, I beat the Patriots and Tom Brady on a comeback play on a 2-minute drive, even though Brady didn't play. But in my mind, he was on the team. So I beat you, Brady, on that particular play. So that was pretty cool, too. here to come out.
So you were celebrating as if you just advanced to like the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And everyone's like, it's week 2 of the preseason.
Yeah, week 2 of the preseason. There's probably 2,200 people in the stands. Half of them are Bulldog fans just because they want to see me play. But in my brain, this is the NFC. Well, I say it's a Super Bowl because they're the Patriots, they're the AFC. But I say it's a Super Bowl, and I just beat Brady to come back to win, and boom, I don't care what anybody say, it happened.
So let's talk about that, because you're a Georgia kid. You go to play at the University of Georgia. And then in 2006, you get drafted 7th round by your home team, the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
What's the phone call that you get that says you're being drafted by them?
Well, first off, I didn't answer the call the first time they called, because you got to remember, I'm from Atlanta. I'm from Georgia. So I'm thinking, it's somebody just calling, trying to see if I've been drafted yet, what's going on, how I'm feeling. And this is 7th round, so I'm already like, oh, it ain't going to happen. I'm already mad. I'm frustrated. I done went upstairs. Phone, I get the phone. It rings. And I hang it up. I just send it to voicemail. And all of a sudden, they call back again. And I'm like, oh, this might be somebody. This might be. So I answer the phone. And Arthur Blank comes on. He talks. Jim Mora, who was the head coach at the time, he's like, Shock, we coming to get you. Greg Knapp, long live Greg Knapp. He was the quarterback's coach at then. And he's like, I told you, I wanted to come get you. And I was, after that, you forget about it being 7th round and, taking forever. Obviously, you wish you went earlier, but it was really cool to get that call. And I get that call, and the first time I go to the facility, as soon as I walk in the building, I can't make this up. As soon as I walk in, Michael Vick is walking right by. I ain't never met him before, but I'm like, here's the dude that's the face of the NFL. So in my mind, I'm like, keep it cool, keep it cool, keep it cool, keep it cool. And I'm walking, and I was like, what's up, Mike? He was like, what's up, Shock? How you doing? I was like, oh, you know my name. So I was like, I didn't even think he knew me. You know what I'm saying? He had been around, 5-6 years by now, and big time player, all this kind of stuff. And, he knew who I was, and, we dapped it up and talked for a couple of minutes. I thought that was super cool. My first ever meeting with Mike and playing with him that first year was unbelievable. Just watching, the things that he could do on the football field when he wanted to was another story too.
Okay, so I just thought of this right now for some reason, but did they draft you because of your ability to maybe play like a Michael Vick?
Yep, that's exactly what they told me. They said they wanted somebody to be similar to who Mike was. Now, obviously, it was nobody else.
Yeah, there's nobody like that.
What
yeah.
Mike did. But they was like, we got another guy who's really athletic, who can run, who can move, who can do similar stuff within this offense that they already like. And they was like, this is the guy who, if something happens, he is going to be the guy. And I found that out later on. I didn't know it, when they drafted me or whatever, but I found it out later on. And I thought it was a pretty good comp to say, you know what, you were really similar to Michael Vick. And, I was pretty cool with that. And obviously worked my tail off and, was able to be there and, just watch him work. Matt Schaub also was there. Really smart guy, played in the league for a long time too. Made a ton of money. Really, really two good dudes. I couldn't ask for a better quarterback room to come into with two totally different guys.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? One had played at Virginia, one at Virginia Tech, but one just two different dudes in personalities. But it worked really well, and we had fun times in there.
Michael Vick, did he ever say to you he watched you at Georgia?
Oh yeah, he was in the state. Cause obviously being with the Falcons, he had to be around. It was hard to dodge the Dogs, and he told me about a couple games that he had seen, and then obviously when we got drafted, he was like, "Yeah, I had to look some more up and see what my dude was about." That's how he talked. See how my dude was about, and it was cool to know that he had interest, in me, and I'm like, bro, you like the Michael Vick experience. What we talking about, bro?
Yes,
it was pretty cool. And the other cool thing about that blew my mind when I first got to the Falcons was obviously it was my rookie year, and I had to make the team. Obviously, being a 7th round guy, it's almost like being a free agent. It's gonna be hard to make it. So I make the team. I ended up making the team. Baby's crying.
No, that's my pup.
I know, but your baby.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, it is. That is my baby girl.
I know. But But I made the team, and the first week we made the team, our equipment staff come to me and says, "Hey, Shock, because when I first got there, I had to wear number 1, and usually I was number 3, but it was like, Shock, are you gonna keep number 1? You gonna wear number 3?" And I'm like, why do it matter? Like, I mean, I figured it out in a couple of days. I'll let y'all know. They was like, nah, we need to know right now. I was like, why? They was like, well, they want to, start selling your jersey. I was like, I'm like, that dude next to me, number 7, that's all the jerseys they want, right? They was like, nah, it's a lot of Georgia fans. That's a lot of, Falcon fans, other fans of yours. And there's a demand for your jersey. I said, oh, okay. So I thought that was pretty cool, man, that I'm in a QB room with Michael Vick, and they still, want to buy my jersey. Was pretty dope.
That is awesome. So I need to know, because I grew up kind of like you, and I saw Michael Vick, and I'm like, this dude is one of the best athletes I've ever seen in my life. With a flick of the wrist, he'd throw the ball 60 yards. What was it like seeing him up close in person?
Everything you thought it was. Standing there like, kind of how like people do Mahomes now. Like, did he just do that?
But he was more athletic than Mahomes. Like, he was faster, quicker.
No doubt. And there was times where we'd be sitting in the meeting room, and they'd be going over stuff. We're going like, all right, this blitz comes, Mike. We can't pick it up. Just got to make them miss. I mean, they would literally say that, like, we can't account for that guy, but we know you'll make sure, we're good. There was we have a play where if we thought the backside end was crashing too hard, it'd just say, Mike, just pull it. And nobody knew it. He just had to feel it, and he'll do it. And we do it probably 3 or 4 times a game just to keep that backside end honest, and he'll take off. I remember there was one game we was playing, I can't remember who it was. He was mad at the OC about something. It was a play call or something. He came to the sideline mad, and he goes, man, you know what? I'm just going to take off. Next series, first play, 65 yards, gone. And I said, bro, how you doing this versus the best dudes in the entire world? And you better than everybody else that's on the field. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. And I think if you go back, and Mike said this before, he was like, if I prepared the way I did when I was in like Philly, then no telling what my career could have been when I was with Atlanta. And I think when he was with Atlanta, it was more of, I'm just that much more talented than everybody. And I didn't have to prepare as much because I was that talented. And I think when he got to Philly, and he said this before, he was held to more of a, he had to be more accountable for the way he prepared. He had to be more accountable for knowing where blitzes, all the checks and everything that goes with the game plan. And I think he said it made him a better player up here. And I think that mattered the most as his career grew, understanding the game even more. And, to say you were the face of the NFL and that talented and you didn't put all the time in is insane to know how good you are to be able to do that. And that's what Mike was.
It's funny you say that because I can remember him at Virginia Tech. And I just said, I would love to see this guy on a 3 or 7 step drop, take time and throw it, as opposed to that quick flick of the wrist, 60 yards. Like, if he actually took his time, could he throw it 85, 90 yards? Like, what could he do? Because it just seemed like he had like endless abilities.
Yeah, it's effortless. And he knew it too. He knew he was that much better. He knew that he was faster than everybody. He knew his arm strength, and he could hold on to it a little bit longer just to make sure a guy was coming out of his route so he didn't throw a pick. But he was that talented with his arm and his legs. And the league hadn't really seen a guy like that to that degree. Obviously, you had the McNabbs and the Randall Cunninghams, but he was like a step above those guys when it comes to the athleticism. Then, all those guys had the great arm strength, but he could actually, throw that thing through a wall, and he was so good with it.
Give me a comparison as far as you were known for your legs and for your arm. If it's a race between you and Vic, what's the discrepancy? Like, what can you compare it to? Like, how much faster, quicker, stronger was he than you?
Well, I was maybe a 4.49, 4 flat guy, and Vic was easily 4.39 or something like that. I mean, you're talking about a 10th of a second faster. And his turnover was ridiculous. He was probably He was probably about 205, something like that. I was more 215, 220. So I was a little bit bigger. So, I held a little bit more weight than he did. But his athleticism was unreal. His feel for the game was unreal. When you compare us, I think his speed's a little bit different. I don't know. It depends on who you ask. Who had a strong arm? Mike had a ridiculously strong arm. The ball came out a little bit different, obviously, because he's a lefty.
Right.
But his was effortless too. So I guess you have to ask some of the receivers. They always say we both threw it pretty hard. They both say, we should try to eat their hands up and, breaking fingers and gloves and all that. But I think when I first got there, I was like, he throwing it. So I got to up my game. I got to throw it too. And they'd be like, Shock, why you throwing so fast? I remember one my rookie year, we're in practice and we're doing a drill. It's the quarterbacks and running backs. And behind me is Warrick Dunn. Yep. I'm already nervous because it's Warrick Dunn. I'm like, Shock, don't mess this up. And we go through the drill, do a fake play action. He does a little check down. And apparently I threw it too hard. And for me, I'm like, I just want to make sure I throw a good ball to Warrick Dunn. So I can't just try to loft it and it bounce and hit the ground or something. So I guess I threw it too hard. He threw it back at me. Why you throwing that ball so hard? Why you throwing that ball at me so hard? I was like, my bad, Warrick. I was just trying to get it there. My bad. I didn't care that he threw it back at me. I was just like, my bad. I was nervous. Like, I'm a young rookie. I don't want to make Warrick Dunn mad. This dude been around the league for 10 years and done what he done, and now he mad at me for throwing the ball at him. My bad. He was like, Rook, what's wrong with you throwing that ball at me that fast? So I'll never forget that. It was fun times, man. We had a lot of good characters on that team. DeAngelo Hall was another character we had on the team. Keith Brooking. It's, countless guys. Todd McClure was a center from LSU, was really, really good from that spot. But it was fun to come in that rookie year and, be around all those, different characters, I should say.
So, okay, you're having fun your rookie year. Then your next year, things kind of get blown up. Michael Vick has the entire dogfighting ring, gets arrested, and now things are changing. The following year, the Falcons go out and draft Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
So you go from being 4-12 in 07 to 11-5 in 08.
Yeah.
You had Michael Vick. You were in that quarterback room. Then you get a rookie in Matt Ryan. At what point did you realize this guy is Matty Ice?
What's crazy is if, things don't happen in 07, that might not even been in Atlanta. And I say this because I tell you the story is like you said, my second year, Mike's gone, Bob's gone to Houston. I'm battling now for the starting job with Joey Harrington. And, they say the biggest jumps for quarterbacks are from year 1 to year 2. So Bobby Petrino comes in year 2. And as much as, people say about Petrino, the dude was super smart. Offenses are always off the charts. And I may have had my best offseason coming off, my rookie year. And then going into the camp and preseason, I was having the best year. And coming out of it, many people thought, oh, Shock's winning the battle. I'm winning the quarterback competition. And we're playing in Buffalo and playing good already. Already done threw a touchdown, driving the team up and down the field. We're driving again right before half. I get to we're about like 15-yard line. I drop back for a pass, and it just looks like the Red Sea parts on the offensive line. I take off. It's a guy on about the 2-yard line. I go to give him a move. My knee goes left. I go right. I know it's done. ACL done. So I'm like, here's my best opportunity to start in the National Football League as a 7th-round guy in my hometown, and I'm devastated. Like, this was my opportunity. And like you mentioned, the following year, they draft Matt Ryan. They give him $70 million. I'm like, well, I know I ain't starting now. I know I ain't going to get a chance to be the guy now. But in my brain, it was like, you know what? Let's go back. Let's still focus. It still is a big dream to play in the National Football League, to be there. So I play another, 2 or 3 years. But the great thing about Matt, man, he is one of the best teammates that I've ever had. You're talking about a hard worker, a guy who works hard in the classroom, works hard in the training room. When people just look at Matt and be like, this dude don't lift no weights. He look like he ain't never touched a weight. And when I tell you, the toughest battles I had in the weight room was against Matt. And that's just how we was. We competed in everything. We're doing planks and, he's got a 45 on his back. I want to put a 45 in a 10. And like, who can go the longest? Like, this was how we did every day in the weight room. So that's how hard the dude worked. And he worked even harder, in, our mean rooms. And I remember him coming in as a rookie, I think it was drafted with number 3 overall, something crazy like that. And the dude had come in with the big, I'm the, first round pick. I'm the quarterback that's going to take it over. And as a rookie, he was still asking me questions. He was asking other quarterbacks questions. He was still, kind of genuinely locked in, like, trying to figure out, not trying to big time everybody. And to step on the field, your first play in the National Football League, and throw a touchdown pass to our boy Jink, you knew then it was crazy. And I remember he threw the touchdown, he comes running off, and he beelines to me, and he's like out of breath. He can't hardly breathe because, he's just overwhelmed with the situation. And he was like, what the F just happened? and it was just insane to see, how cool he started his career in that fashion, and the excitement and to be a part of it. And then obviously to play with him another, couple of years, and then to be really good friends, to this day is pretty cool. And Matt's one of those guys. You can see why he has so much success for the Falcons, and, one of those guys that changed the trajectory of the entire program with the way he played. And obviously there's a reason why he's, in that, ring of honor for the Falcons because of the things that he's done.
I think of a couple things, but one I've always wanted to know. You mentioned the quarterback room with Vick and Shaw. Then Matt Ryan throws that touchdown on his first pass in the NFL, and he runs over to you.
Yeah.
How and why, when you're an athlete, you're a competitor. Yeah. All you want to do is play.
Yeah.
Why do quarterback rooms work? How come, despite the fact that you might not be doing what you're doing, you're able to put that aside for the greater good of the team?
That's a good question, man, because I think a lot of people feel like there's always a little jealousy or something because they're the one that's playing. And it's quite understandable because, trust me, everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to be on the field. I wanted to be the guy that throw that pass, But I think ultimately when you get to know a guy and you spend so much time together and you see the work they put in, you see how they treat other people, you want them to succeed as well because this could easily be you. And then you look at it and say, hey, what if that was me out there? Would I want the same support? And I was always the guy that wanted to support my teammates. I saw how hard Matt worked. He didn't try to big time anybody. And you had to root for the guy. And we were on the same team. And that's just how I was made. That's just from the cloth I was made from. I want to see everybody succeed. I see this guy work hard. He didn't just come in here and just, big time everybody and say, you know what, I got it. Don't worry about it. Then I can see how you can be like, all right, whatever, dude, you got it. But it was the total opposite with Matt. And I had genuine excitement for him because I knew what he put in to get to that point. And I already knew how hard it was to play at this level in this league. And he came in and had that success early, went to the playoffs, all that kind of stuff. And it was just fun to be able to root him on. And in that moment, that's something you never forget. And we still laugh about it to this day of just, that moment. And you don't realize it while you're doing it. In that moment, it's going to be something you never forget. But you're just so excited for your brother that, you feel good about it.
You mentioned how you pushed him in the weight room. He pushed you in the weight room. You guys ever talk about it? Does he ever come back to you and be like, dude, Shock, thank you. Because of you, I was forced to work harder and I became better because of that.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those unwritten things that you know, because you know how tough it is and you got to have those moments. And I think more than anything, it's the stuff that happened in between plays. It's the stuff that happened on the sideline. It's stuff that happened in meeting rooms. It's those things that you really talk about more because obviously you got to work out and you remember those moments when you're pushing each other and there's the mutual respect and that's kind of given. You kind of understand that part of it, but then there's the joking and laughing. There's the all the different things that comes with being a part of a team. It's similar to what we do now, and that's why I love that kind of locker room feel. Is we can joke, we can have fun, we can laugh. And those are the moments that you never forget. And those are the ones that you relish the most, I think, is when you have those moments when, you're in those high pressure situations and, you need those moments to kind of and I think those are the ones you remember the most, in any job. I mean, it's similar to, you do a lot of different sports. You do, a lot of high pressure moments and, big situations on the golf course and on 18 and dude needs a birdie to win it. You got to lock in on that moment. But then it's also when you come off and you can laugh about, things you guys say in between commercial breaks. And I think that's the part of it that, I think guys really enjoy and they remember the most is having those moments.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's the camaraderie. Every person, every athlete I ever speak to, when I say, do you miss playing? Everyone says the same thing. Like, I don't miss playing.
Yeah.
I miss the locker room.
Yeah, for sure. Always. And that's kind of, I think that's why you see a lot of retired players, they love golf because you get the same kind of feeling from playing golf is, for one, it's hard to beat it. And you're so used to winning that you like, I'm not going to let this beat me. But then you also have the banter, going to each hole, riding in the cart with somebody, watching them hit a good shot or watching them, hit one in the water. You're like, and you get to talk about it. Like, those are the moments that you really enjoy. And it gives you that same feeling of when you played, when you was in those locker rooms or whatever it may be.
Take me back to that rookie year because you mentioned something before about your jersey number. And when they came to you and said, no, we need to know because people want to buy your jersey. You're a 7th round pick. And the likelihood is most 7th round picks don't make the team.
No.
If they're trying to sell your jersey, did it ever creep into your mind like, oh, shit, I guess I'm going to make the team, or I think I got a pretty good chance at making this team now?
And that's exactly what happened. Because I was like, if y'all need to know my jersey number, that means I got to be on the team for y'all to sell my jersey. And to be honest, that was the first time it really clicked to me because it came to me maybe. So when I played, obviously, we had 4 preseason games. And it was going into the 4th preseason game. And it was still up in the air. I didn't know. And I was like, y'all telling me something? Like, does that mean what it means? I had to keep it inside, throughout that last preseason game. But you're talking about a dope feeling, man, to know, for one, that you made the team. Obviously, you've been doing it since I was 6 years old playing football. And now you're at a position where you're at the pinnacle, but it also could be done. Like, if you don't make it, what are you going to do now? All you've been doing is playing football your entire life. So there's that realization of this could be over. You don't know when another team's going to pick you up. You went 7th round, so obviously a lot of teams passed on you. Obviously, they didn't want you. So it could be done.
Passed on you 6 times.
You know what I'm saying? Passed on you 6 times. Looked at you a bunch. It was very satisfying, I should say, to have that moment and to say, you know what, made it in the National Football League. I made a team, and I'm going to be in the meeting room with Michael Vick, Matt Schaub. I get to, go against Keith Brooking, who's right across from me, DeAngelo Hall, who's in the secondary, Loria Malloy, who, I used to watch play for the Patriots. Like, all these dudes are now like
Coy Wire.
Coy Wire. You know what I'm saying? All these dudes, are on my team now, which is pretty cool.
Call your parents?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you cry?
It was, my dad tried to keep it cool, but my mom was like super excited, very congratulatory. He was like, you deserve it, you earned it. And just to, give them that feeling, I thought was pretty cool. My dad later on comes back and tells me, that was a huge feat. And, it's always good to have that from your parents as well.
So what's it like once you make the team and it's in a regular season game at home? At that time, it was the Georgia Dome. And you might not have been playing, but maybe your parents are in the crowd. Like, did you know where they were in the stands?
Yeah, you kind of had you knew about the general area where the friends and family sat. So you knew they were, in this particular area. And it was cool. Like, the first time I run out, each position group runs out. And I run out, me, Michael Vick, Matt Shaw, we all running out, 3 guys running out. You look over, you see your parents, and you're like, you can't be cool at first, act like you don't see them, you know what I'm saying? And then you finally look over, give them a little deuces. You look out, and I got a picture now that I got that saved. It's like we're in like Green Bay or something, and it's just me and Mike just standing, and I'm like, bro, I'm in the National Football League. on the field, just talking with Michael Vick, and we're teammates. And to be able to go through practice and, so I was like the backup. So I used to go against the first team all the time. So I'm like, I'm going against a real deal defense. These dudes right here been playing. This guy been playing for 8 years. This guy been playing for 12 years. This guy is, going into his fourth year. Like, and you're like, man, it's different though, because you're like, these grown men out here now. This ain't 18 to 22. You got dudes over here who might be 33 and with 3 kids, and you got another dude over here who, 25. But you're like, it's a different world. He's just playing for different things. But it definitely was cool to have that first feeling of running out into the dome and you're a part of this team and everybody's excited to see you. Like you said, it was still the heyday, and the dome was packed every week. It was like the club in there. Everybody was rocking. Definitely a surreal feeling for the first time, especially after years of watching the Falcons play.
I was going to say, growing up in Atlanta, you grew up a Falcons fan.
Yeah.
And so to put that jersey on for the first time, yeah, it's got to be something special in the preseason, right?
Oh, yeah.
But when you do it for the first time for the regular season, is there that moment, and I don't know, I've never had this opportunity, but is there that moment where, okay, in football, you get your pads on, and now you got to pull that jersey up over the pads. Are you looking in the mirror? Are you like looking at it being like, maybe I dressed up as this guy for Halloween when I was a kid, and now this is actually my work uniform?
Yeah, Coach, I'll tell you, it goes back even further than that. It goes to even going back to meeting up at the airport and you're about to take off and you're getting on the plane and you're like, boom, look at that guy. Look at that guy. I'm on this plane. And then you get off and you have meetings that night and you're actually going through the plan of what's going to happen. Here's the first play of the game. Here is what we're going to do on third down. The intricacies of stuff that you wondered for so long of how it actually goes down. And then that next morning, you wake up, you go down, you eat your breakfast, and you're loading on the bus. And I think probably maybe the most surreal feeling that I've ever had was like riding up to the stadium. Or I remember the first ever preseason game I had was riding up to Lambeau Field. And I'm like, this is insane. I'm on the bus. You got the, got the troopers in front of you, and you're like, yo, you here. Like, this is crazy. And I tell you, the first realization when I really had was 2006, my rookie year. We're playing in New Orleans, and it's the game right after Katrina on Monday night. And you talk about understanding what it was really like to play in a National Football League. I thought every game was going to be like that. I didn't know every game wouldn't be like that, but that was the most electric atmosphere. Obviously, that city coming back from Katrina, and it was on Monday night. I'm like, I'm out here warming up for Monday Night Football. And I just remember we getting smoked. I remember one time Mike came to the sideline and was like, bro, they got about 14 people out there. And he was like, that's how fast they move. And it's how, it was just one of those kind of games where everything was feeding in for them. And obviously a great night for New Orleans, not a good night for Atlanta. But that was the moment that you was like, you was here. Like, this is the real deal. And it don't get much better than that.
I don't want to bring up a negative, but you brought it up before, saying how what opened the door for Matt Ryan was you going down with that ACL injury in the preseason against Buffalo. Obviously, no one knows what would have happened if you were healthy and you could have played that year.
I mean, I could have been healthy and we still stank, and we could have got the number 2 pick. But I'm just saying.
No, I know. But for you, like, how do you get over that disappointment? Because you're sitting there going, I'm going to be the starting quarterback for this team. I'm going to be the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL, for the team that I grew up for. And now it's all gone.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get through that?
Tough. I'll tell you, it was tough. My quarterback's coach was Bill Musgrave. So after maybe second or third game into the regular season, he told me, he was like, yeah, you had pretty much won the job. And it stung because I had no idea. Like, I just felt like I was so focused on just doing what I had to do to play good and, trying to be the best I could in training camp. And he was like, yeah, the whole staff was like, Shock gives us the best chance to win. And in that moment, I looked at it a couple different ways. One, I was really sad about it because I was like, man, like you mentioned, all the stuff above, I could be the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. But then the other part of me was, okay, this is not going to happen, but you was in a situation to give yourself that opportunity. Like you actually had the chance to be that guy. And it didn't happen, but knowing that my talent and ability were enough. And I think for a lot of people, you question or you wonder, am I enough? Am I good enough? Can I play on this level? Am I good enough to be the number one guy? And when you first come to the league, you absolutely battle it. When I first got to Georgia, I battled that. You see so many talented dudes. You see so many talented players. Like I said, I'm watching Michael Vick, and I'm like, am I any close to him? I'm watching Matt Schaub. Am I as smart as him? Like all that stuff is in your brain. And then when you get your coach to tell you, you know what? Yeah, you are smart enough. Yeah, you are talented enough. You were going to be the guy that we wanted to put our, franchise hands in. And as we know, hey, these dudes got jobs. They want to keep their job. So they're going to put the best guy out there. And for me, it was satisfying. And, it feels like more like a moral victory, but in my brain, that was kind of the demon I fought was, am I good enough? And to hear, yes, you are, was satisfying enough for me to know that I had the opportunity, I seized it, and it just didn't work out.
At what point did you get over that disappointment? You talked about your faith. Did you rely on your faith to get through that? Did you rely on friends, family? What was it that kind of helped you get over that and kind of reshift your focus to getting over the ACL, coming back as strong as you could in the football terms?
I think all the things you mentioned were part of the friends, family. Of course, all was above that. Girlfriend at the time, who ended up being my wife, Portia, she was a big part of that as well. I think going through what I going through at Georgia also helped me. I got hurt a couple times at Georgia in moments where I was going to play or play significantly, and you get hurt. And how to handle those obstacles, how to get through those tough trials. And when I got to the league, going through that again, I could lean on exactly what I went through. I can lean on my faith. I can lean on knowing that God has a plan for my life, and He absolutely was going to put me in a position to win. And for me, I was like, it don't always happen when you want to, but it's going to happen, obviously, when God wants it to happen. That's kind of how I took it. And then my mind shifted from, all right, stop sulking. Do you really want to stay in the National Football League? And just because you got hurt don't mean you're done. So my mind shifted from, all right, they drafted Matt Ryan. You know he's going to be the guy. But guess what? You still have the opportunity to be on an NFL roster and help this team. And in my brain, that was enough. I had been on a team in college where you get hurt, the other guy steps in, he plays a big role, he's the starter, and now you're one play away from being the guy again. And that's kind of how I took my mind frame going into that. And I wanted to make sure that I still had it going forward. And I rehabbed my butt off, came back, and ended up making the team again after the ACL and played another couple of years. So at first it was all about family and friends and all that kind of stuff, helping you through it. But then it was also like, what more do you want? Do you want to stay on this team? Do you want to still be in the National Football League? Do you want to feel sorry for yourself? Or, hey, pick yourself up. They draft another guy. Let's go compete. And that's kind of how it was. Let's go compete, and we'll see what happens. Don't worry about what they paid him. Just go out and do your thing and make this team. And I was super excited to go do that and was able to do it.
Yeah. And you know what? Now here you are. You get to work with me on the preseason, and, everything works out, I guess. Or
No
you're
doubt.
just, living in hell having to work with me. But
No, I love you, Coach. You're the dude.
I love you too, bro. And the reason why I bring up the preseason is because we talk about this a lot during the broadcast about players fighting for their jobs. And you don't know if they're going to be suiting up in an NFL uniform for the last time. And you and Coy both talk about it a lot, but that each and every year you went into preseason not knowing if you're going to make the team. You weren't guaranteed a roster spot. So what was it like for your entire career, every preseason having to fight for your job?
Every practice, you knew you had to bring it. There wasn't a time where you could relax. And a lot of people may not understand how tough that is every single day when you're the backup and you may get 3 or 4 reps. in practice. You may have 3 or 4 opportunities to showcase what you could do. And in your brain, I got to make those count. And then you get into the preseason games and it's like, how do I get better? How do I show them that I deserve a roster spot on this team? And you're watching other guys play, obviously, and you're like, man, that guy's doing good. I got to do something to outdo him. And sometimes that can hurt you because you're trying to do too much. And for, the 5 years I played, that was a constant thing that I did every single year was how do I find a way to get that much better and stick out so they want me to be a part of it. And it's tough. I remember every preseason you get to that last game and you just don't know. And that's a scary feeling. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a scary feeling trying to figure out, if this is it, what am I going to do now? Like, what do I do next? I don't know if I'm going to go somewhere else. I don't know if another team wants me. Now I have to figure out a different part of my life. And I think a lot of guys go through that stress. And sometimes it makes, for guys to play at a different level. And sometimes it forces guys to be in their head so much that it throws them off. So when we do the preseason games, I have a different feeling for those guys because I know, all right, it's coming down to the last couple minutes of the last preseason game, and this may be the last time they get to strap on their helmet. This might be the last time they get to be in an NFL locker room. And sometimes that is a tough pill to swallow, but that's why it's a tough business, and you got to be able to handle the good and the bad.
What do you, when you're on that cut line, so to speak, if we're going to take a golf analogy here, how do you not put too much pressure on yourself where you can't perform?
I think the best thing you can do is make sure you're prepared. It's kind of similar to what we do going into a game is we have to be ready for every single little thing that's going to happen throughout a broadcast. You got to make sure everything's on your board. And I think that's what you do as a player as well is how prepared can I be for this ball game? How much can I be ready for the unknown? And then it's about how you respond to it. Because if you're prepared enough, then you'll be fine once you get in that game. Because if you're prepared, the stuff that maybe is an unknown, you've already prepared for it. And I think that's a big part of, not stressing so much about that quote unquote cut line is if I put my best foot forward every single day, I prepare. I don't make the same mistakes I made yesterday. I do everything that I'm supposed to do and to help this ball club. And if that's not enough, I'm okay with it because I gave everything I had. There's nothing else I can do about it. And that's kind of how the approach I had to take. And I think that's what a lot of guys, think about is, have I done everything I can to make this ball club? Have I given myself every chance mentally and physically to be the best player I can throughout these preseason games to shine, not just for myself, and we talked about this too, but for 31 other teams? Will somebody else turn on this tape and say, you know what? I like the way that guy runs to the ball. I like the way that guy finishes. I like the way that guy, has a congratulatory nature about him with all his teammates. All that kind of stuff, I think, goes hand in hand. And can you be a good locker room teammate? That's a big part of it, too. So for me, it was how prepared are you going to be for those moments? And if you're the most prepared for it and you put your best foot forward, that's all you can ask for.
Before we go to the last segment, I need to ask this. The way you prepare as a guy who's trying to make the team is different than somebody who's a star player because they know they're on the team. Who was a star player who prepared as if they were trying to make the team, not as a star?
A star player that was prepared like they're trying to make the team?
Like that same type of hunger and like that strive for perfection. Like I need to impress the coaches. I need to impress my teammates. I'm getting better each and every day as opposed to, it's okay, I missed that pass, whatever, I'll get the next one.
Yeah. I played with a guy named Sean Weatherspoon. You may remember played linebacker. I think he may be a second or third round guy. Those guys, usually pretty good. Played in Missouri, played linebacker, but this dude came in and worked like he was a free agent and didn't take a day for granted. Always had great energy, always ran around, was physical, was really excited for his teammates. And he was a guy that wasn't on the bubble. He wasn't a guy that, when he walked into preseason or walked into camp, there was maybe he going to make it, maybe he not going to make it. He was going to be on the team. But the dude worked every day, was out there early, was stayed after late, did everything you wanted to as a teammate and as a player to show younger guys and show other guys that, yeah, just because you here don't mean you're going to stay here. And I think he practiced and he played like that. And I think he set a good example for a lot of guys like that.
I love it. That's perfect. All right. This brings us to the final segment called This Just In. Rapid fire questions. We may expand on them. We'll see. You mentioned before, number 1, number 3, you're always number 3. Yeah. Why number 3?
I love 3. I got a lot of significance. I was born in March, which is the 3rd month. My birthday's on the 23rd, so it's a 3 in it. Born in 1983. I got 3 brothers. I got 2 brothers and a sister. That has 3 siblings. So a lot of cool things that go along with the number 3 that I really liked. And then the number's dope too.
Favorite athlete growing up?
Ooh, favorite athlete growing up? Andrew Jones.
Baseball, center field.
Love Andrew, man. Dude, I actually know him now, so it's actually pretty cool. And just to be around him, I still trying to act cool, but I'm like, dude, it's still Andrew Jones. Pretty dope, man.
All right, so first time you got a dap from Andrew Jones?
At a golf tournament. And he was like in the group before us, and we pulled up. They about to tee off. I get out, and then one of the guys who mutually know him introduced us. I kept it cool. So what's up, man? Good to see you, bro. Love watching you, man. But in my brain, I was like, yo.
The reason I asked is because there's a picture that I have here in the office of Don Mattingly. He was my favorite player growing up.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of his games. And the last game that I did of his, like, we talked for like 30 minutes in his office. And he like shook my hand and like put his like hand like on my shoulder. And I was like, just come in for the hug. Just come on.
Just give me it all. Give me it all.
I was like, it was so close. It was so close.
Good old
favorite game at Georgia?
Favorite game, I would say beating LSU in the SEC championship game my last year when everybody in the world said Georgia's just here. They're a stepping stone for LSU to go to the national championship. They got no chance. They were number 3. We were 13, 34-13.
Hey, again, 3s.
Come on.
Right? Lucky.
Come on.
Best player you ever saw in person?
Julius Peppers. I mean, I remember one season I walked out there and I was like, I ain't supposed to be out here with him. Nah, bro. Look at this man over here. This dude look like a created alien over here, bro. Look how big this dude is. But just some of the stuff he did, watching him in basketball, then watching him in football. I mean, he in the Hall of Fame for a reason. Like, come on, man. Pep was nice.
This could be tough, but best athlete you've ever seen in person?
How about my former teammate, Thomas Davis? As you know, Carolina guy, played for the Panthers. Came to college, Randolph-Clay, Georgia. Just a country dude, but you talking about like he's one of them like take his shoes off and be running barefoot and be running 4-3. Plays safety in college, goes to the Panthers, plays linebacker, tore his ACL like 97 times, still came back and was one of the most athletic dudes I had ever been around, man. But yeah, TD is definitely one of those dudes that basketball don't matter. He gonna compete and he gonna be all on you. He gonna talk trash, but definitely one of the most athletic dudes I know.
Wow, I thought for sure you were going to go with Vick. So whew.
He up there, but they drafted Thomas Davis for Michael Vick. Now just think about that. Like, I mean, they played in division 2 times a year. They drafted him to be the guy that could run with him. So that tells you everything you need to know about that dude.
This could be tough. Greatest Falcon of all time.
That's crazy one right there. Bro, you can't get that right. That's crazy. Greatest Falcon. I'm going to go with, man, so many great dudes. I'm going to go with my guy, the Hammer. How about that? Jesse Tuggle. How about that? Yeah. A lot of great dudes. I mean, you can't be right on this one, bro. Come on. Don't matter who you choose.
I legit put down the question, and I'm going through my head saying, man, like, I wonder where he's going to go with this.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, so many dudes. I mean, Barkowski's up there. Come on. I mean, you can't. I mean, Claude Humphrey's up there. I mean, it's hard to. Matt's up there. I mean, Julio's up there. Like, it's hard, bro. It's a lot of great players that came through that organization. And the Hammer, just underrated, man. From small school, just dude was it.
Your favorite food to eat?
Favorite food? You talking about like snacks or like real food?
Real food.
My favorite food. Give me Give me either some good pork chops or hey man, you know I love a lot of food. You know my palate is crazy. You know that.
Yeah, exactly. Real crazy. Because the next question is, what's the craziest food you ever ate?
See, you guys have ruined me. These guys have tried to make me eat octopus and all kind of craziness. I gotta watch myself when I'm around y'all eating. Can't go to the bathroom to switch out my plates.
Okay, so
Octopus
just
might be the craziest for sure.
Okay, so we have to let the viewers know and the listeners know that every year when we do the Falcons, it started our first year where Shock wants like a burger, grilled chicken, like as plain as everything can be. And we're like, no, you gotta, add something.
Y'all been trying to
So
eat
we made him
crazy
try
stuff.
octopus, and we're like, it tastes like chicken. So he had it, and he was like, it's okay. Fast forward to a couple years later, we're at a restaurant in Atlanta, and they have rabbit, and Shock gets the fried chicken. Well, he goes to the bathroom, and we tell the waitress, hey, do us a favor and ask him how he likes the rabbit. And this waitress truly should have gotten like an Academy Award.
Yeah,
she was amazing. And she comes by and Shock comes back. She goes, how is everything? And she looks straight at Shock and she goes, how's the rabbit? And he's like, mid-bite. And he's like, no, I got the chicken. And she's like, no, you had the rabbit. He was already done with probably 3/4 of his meal. And he's like, no, I had the chicken. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
And people got to keep in mind, we're at a table about 7 or 8 people, and everybody is on go mode. Everybody is locked in. Nobody's laughing. Everybody's just looking at her like what's going on? And the fact that all y'all set this up was quite amazing. And that's why I say I can never go to the bathroom, because she sold it. Y'all sold it. At that moment, I thought I was really eating rabbit, and I was like disgusted. Like, you gotta be kidding me.
And she even said, no, I'm just messing with you. Shock
and all y'all
did not touch the food again. He left the rest of his food. He's like, I can't do it. I don't trust you guys. I can't do it.
Yeah, the fact y'all was able to hold that in was crazy. Like, nobody had a smirk or nothing. It was unbelievable.
Dude, that's why we said before, it's the camaraderie.
No doubt.
It's getting to know somebody like we get to know each other. Yeah, it is awesome. I can't believe we've been working together since 2017.
Crazy.
It is crazy. And I never knew how much fun preseason could be in the NFL until I joined the Falcons broadcast team, and with you, Boy, and the whole crew. We just have so much fun.
For sure.
Dude, this podcast, a lot of fun to do. The stories are great. I love them. Bro, thank you so much for doing this.
Well, I appreciate you, man. Like you said, man, we've been together for a few years now, and you're just a great dude. Love to be around you, man. I look forward to our preseasons because I know we're gonna have some laughs, and you do such a great job with just keeping us on the rails and just teeing us up for stuff. So you definitely are good at your job, bro. And I appreciate you as a friend, and appreciate you having me. I know you can choose any guy to be on here, so I appreciate you, having me on. But I look forward to, lifelong friendship with you, bro.
No doubt. And I guess it's only fitting to say rise up.
Rise up, baby. Let's go.
All right, let's go, Shock. Appreciate you, man.
Love you, bro. Appreciate you.
Love you too.